I don't do all this video stuff.
Hi, my name is Nevada. I'm here with my grandma Mary. The date is December 6, 2025, and we're recording this interview in Chicago, Illinois. So, Grandma, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So, I'm just going to start off by asking you a few questions, and all you have to do is answer.
Okay.
Okay.
You need to speak a little louder for me.
Okay.
Okay.
So, this is my first question. What was life like for you as a teenager?
Well, that's been over 50 some years ago, but I had a good teenage life. We were able to roam around, go out to the park, go to, just like you guys go to Starbucks, we would meet up at McDonald's and Burger King. And our parents wasn't what you call worried about us, because back in those days, which was the 60s and the 70s, you were able to go out and all your parents said was be home before the street lights come on. So that was toward the evening, almost like dusk. It had to be before dark. You couldn't be out after dark.
Mm-hmm.
So you did have to come home. But I had a good childhood. There was no fighting or nothing like that. No type of rivalry. It was a lot of fun. But we did have responsibilities in those days.
Mm-hmm.
You had chores, as your parents called. So you couldn't just get up and get dressed and leave. You had to get up, make sure that your parents knew and tell you, okay, you can go now because you did everything they needed you to do.
Mm-hmm.
School days were the same. You had to wake up, get ready to go to school, and after school you had to come home first. Then you were able to, if you didn't have any homework or anything, then you were able to go to the park. You didn't have a lot of kids over to your home. They would come outside and ask, can you come to the park, but not hang out in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me. Not for me. So, it was fun to me. It was fun.
That's good.
But I did grow up fast. Because as I became older, my mom wanted me to have more responsibility because our father had died. My father had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I inquired, by me being the oldest child, I inquired more responsibility.
Mm. And could you share what that was? What was that like having that responsibility at a young age?
I didn't have to take care of my sisters and brothers, but I was the oldest of 5. So my mother took care of her own children.
Mm-hmm.
But the responsibility that I had was my mother at a young age had high blood pressure and heart disease. So at 28 years old, she had what you call a mild heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't put her in the hospital or anything, but when she did go to the doctor, they let her know you have high blood pressure and you have heart disease. So you have to take care of that. When she found out that, then that's when she started getting me ready. You call it grooming. Grooming me for more responsibility. You need to learn how to how you put it, learn how to cook. You need to learn how to do banking, because if anything happened to my mother, I'm the oldest, I would be responsible for my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So while she was alive, no, I didn't have to stop anything that I were doing as far as my social life or either my upbringing, just to take care of children. That wasn't the way she put it. It was knowing how to do it in case I had to do it.
Right.
And I also did that. I did that. I had all the privileges of, I had a car. My first car was at 16. I went to the prom. I did homecoming. I did football games, basketball games. At our school is called Hillcrest High School. There was a swimming pool there at our school. There was a tennis court. There was of course you had gym. I participated in all those activities. I was not a cheerleader or anything. I didn't play on any sports team, but I took all the classes. I took, and they were, in my day in school, those were things that you had at school.
Mm-hmm.
You had a cooking class. You had a sewing class. Gym would consist of volleyball one semester. If it was during the warmer days semester, theirs were softball and tennis. With the swimming pool, you would have swimming in gym class. And therefore, I was on the swimming team, not the team that did any competition or anything. I was on the swimming team as far as, what would they call? The Dolphins. We did all the little cute stuff. We had like so many girls, and you would swim around in a circle, and you would kick up your legs, and then you would raise your arms. So whatever the instructor would teach us, then that little program we would learn. But there was no competition or nothing with anybody. This was all really just learning how to swim in those days, being active in class, in the swimming class, doing gym, and whoever was able to swim good and wasn't afraid of the water, and I was one of them. I love swimming. I love water. So that didn't bother me. A lot of kids didn't want to learn how to swim. They were afraid of the water. So that's why that little dolphin club came, she kind of put that into play, because other than that, you were just swimming from one end of the pool to the other, or just splashing around. But when she saw you really knew how to swim, that's what she created.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you my second question, and I just want to preface that, like, if anything is maybe too much to talk about, then you don't have to talk about it. So I want you to be as comfortable as possible. But what's one experience that you think defined you and made you into the person that you are today?
One of them was the way I was raised by my mother. There was always structure. We have never had a what you call household where you can do what you want. There was always structure. There were always rules, and there was always respectability. You could not just get up and do what you want. You had no restrictions on, like, you could always go into your kitchen and you could always eat whatever your mom had there, and she kept plenty of food for us. You can sit in we had what you call they call it family room now. We called it a den back in those days. And the den, we only had one television. And so that means you just didn't get to watch what you want all the time. You had to go with the family. So Saturdays, that is one reason why you didn't really want to be sitting at home, because the family, sitting there on a Saturday evening, yeah, you might have to watch sports, because I had two brothers and a stepfather. So that might have been sports. That's something you might not want to do. But through the week, you just didn't sit and watch television. You might come home from school. By me being the oldest, I might have come home and maybe turn on something and watched, and that was it. And then I'm out of there. The rest of the time, the other siblings get to watch. Two of the siblings, which was the younger girls, they were too young to even control anything. So basically, I only had to share with the brothers, because they were more of, the oldest brother was only four or 4.5 years younger than me, and the other brother 6 years younger than me. And the two sisters, one sister I am 11 years older than her, and the middle sister I'm only I'm 7 years older than her. So those they were little, so we really didn't have to share the TV with them. They would just be happy to be around us if they didn't want to be in their own room playing with their dolls. What defined me, other than the way that I was raised, is I became a mother at a young age, and I had a son. And when I had that son, my mother told me that I will not throw you away, because in those days, getting pregnant at a young age was looked upon. And some parents sent their children away. So if they got pregnant, all you know is that person is no longer here. You don't know if they went to a relative house or did they have to go to a private place that took unwed mothers. My mother didn't do that. It hurt her that I became pregnant at a young age, but she stood by me. So we did it together. So when my son was born, she says, you go back to school and I'll take care of my grandchild. And that's what she did. Then, after school, I got married, because now I see I have a son to take care of. In those days, you wanted to get married and have a family. And so when my son turned 2 years old, I got married. And then my husband at that time adopted my son at a young age of 3 years old. And that defined me of my responsibilities. So the responsibilities of not being there for my children and doing what I wanted to do or whatever, that I could not. I had to start working. That's why I've always had a car since the time I was 16 years old. I don't know what it is not to have a car. And I've had a job since I was 17 years old. I don't know what it is not to work until I became disabled. And I became disabled at the age of 58 due to illness. And from that time, I went on disability. But before then, I've worked over 30-something years straight to provide for my children. I had another child after I was married 9 years apart. So they are 9 years apart. And I have a boy and a girl. And after that, I said, I have a son and a daughter. That's all I need. So I wasn't one to want a lot of children, because I feel like I've got the best of both worlds, one of each. But my mother, I have to give her credit, because she's the one that helped me to raise my son. She gave me the leeway to work the way I did. And because of her, I was able to go to work, do a job, and during the summer, she would say, send the kids to me, because during the summer I would work doubles. I would work 2 jobs. That way the kids never had to be at home by themselves. Occasionally, the kids stayed with her during school time. That was during a time that I decided that my marriage was not working, and it was best for me to separate and get a divorce. So during that time, my mother says, send me the children, and that way you don't have to put them through that. And that's what we did. So at some point, my son and my daughter were living with my mother, and they were going to school with her. And after a while, they would, as you say, people say, get back on their feet, get things together, then you send for the children. And then as we moved from Illinois to Texas in 1982. And in 1982, my son was 8 going on 9. My daughter was only 3 or 2, something like that. And Texas is where we lived for 16 years or 17 years. And that was the time that they had to travel back to Illinois, where they stayed like a couple of school seasons or either one school season. And then they would, when I get back on my feet, they would come to Texas, come back to Texas. And my son ended up staying there in Texas until he was 18 years old. And when he was 18, he decided he did not want to live in Texas no more. So that's when he commuted back to Illinois and been living in Illinois the rest of his life. So that defined me. That made me grow up. And I have been a solid, stable woman ever since. I have.
Amen.
There's, you have trials and tribulations as you grow through life, but none of them has been anything negative. Just life challenges, where your job that you got to do, or you might, that job might not be where you can stay for the rest of your life or till you retired. So that means you got to leave that job and find another job, or you got to leave that job because that job, the other job, pay more. That's what I did. I moved from Texas to Illinois when my stepfather passed away. He was real sick. My mother was sick. So by me being the oldest, I came home. And I moved in the same home that my mother had to help take care of my mother, help take care of my grandmother, who was in her 90s. I got a job, started working, put my daughter in Catholic school, private school. At that time, my son was already an adult. So my responsibility was just my daughter and just being a mom to my son. And then I would go to work. In 2 years or 3 years, I think it was more 2.5 years, my job decided to leave Illinois and move to Florida. And I thought I would have to find another job. And they inquired, no, we want you to go with us. We will pay all your expenses. We will move you down there. And we will fly you guys to Florida. And that's how we migrated to Coral Springs, Florida in 1995. I love you. So, lived there for over 16, 17 years.
What was that like for you? Was it a different experience? Well,
Very different experience.
But
I had never been in a southern state where, it was warm all year round, mostly. That type of tropical atmosphere. But I'm a person that adapts very easy to my circumstance. I don't fight it. I embrace it.
Yeah.
And I made a home for Dominique and myself. I continued working. After years of being there, Dominique grew up and became an adult. Married and had her own family. So instead of me being what they call an empty nester, my mother is at an age where she needs to come where I can take care of her. So that is what happened. My mother ended up moving to Florida, living with me. And she was there for, let's say, 5 years before she totally needed to be taken care of. Within 5 years, she was self-sufficient, where she can go to church, drive, and be social as a senior citizen. But after 5 years, her illness got worse. And that's where she became more homebound. Me taking care of her became more of a hands-on, because before it was just, "Hi, Mom, how's your day?" And I just came home from work, and she been and took care of everything in the house. Within 5 years, it became more hands-on for me. And I was responsible for her medical, her dinners, all the house responsibility. And I was doing that all at the same time that I was working 12 hours. So at that time, my daughter pitched in and helped me, because they live just maybe a half a mile down the street, if that far. If it ain't nothing but a block down the street. They bought a townhouse right down from where we live. So everything was convenient for us to do that. And I enjoyed Florida life. I never thought I would leave Florida. I really thought I would retire in Florida. But all that changed. It all changed. My mother got real sick. I ended up having to have a total knee replacement. And so at the same time that happened. And that's when my sister says, "If you move to Memphis, Tennessee, I could help you with Mom." And that's what we did. And we moved everything, my whole life, from Florida. And within 2 months, my mother had passed away. So I stayed in Memphis for 1 year. The other sister got sick. And so that made me end up back here in Illinois. And we shared a home together for a while. So, with an adopted brother that was younger and mentally challenged. So that was a nightmare. Not a nightmare, but a big challenge.
Stressful. Yeah.
So that happened for, how many years? 1, 2, 3, almost 5 years too. And after that, I had some more illness, but they were the type of illness that just needed to be seen at. You go and have a procedure done, and you're doing better, and that type. It wasn't where it would get you down and debilitate you for life or nothing. It wasn't chronic, put it that way. It wasn't chronic. So within 2017, I decided to live on my own. And that's the first time I ever lived on my own in my life. And I like it.